All right, let's start with our feet. Let's do hip width apart and parallel. Let's just do a side step, side to side. Chest stays lifted. Just logging in here. Just a gentle side step, side to side. Sounds a little loud. All right, just side to side. One more time on each side. And let's take it to a forward and backwards lunge. At any variation, any degree, it can just be a small step forward, a small step back, just the right leg moving forwards and backwards. Let's do one more with the right side. And then switch into the left side, just a forward step and a backward step. You can make it as far as a lunge forward and a reverse lunge, or just stepping forward, lifting that front heel with the forward step, keeping that heel sealed with the back step. All right, let's do one more in each direction on the left side. All right, come on up to standing. Let's just lift and lower the arms. Slow and controlled. Nice soft bend in the knees. Two more. The next one, hold the arms lifted. Just bring the palms facing up, palms facing down. Open and close. Just a rotation of that wrist. Two more. Open, close. One more. Release the arms down, roll the shoulders up and back. Two more times. One more. All right, reverse that direction, up and forward. All right, let's get into it. Just one medium to heavy weight. To start, we're gonna start with feet hip width apart and parallel. We have a low squat to a heel raise. Come back to that squat, tap it right, tap it left, and then back to that standing lift. Make sure our volume's up. All right, we've got 50 seconds on with a 10-second breather in between. So feet are hip width, rise to stand, heel raise, lower, tap it to the side, tap it to the other side, bring it back in, lift, lower, starting with the opposite side. So if you normally start with the right side, let's switch it up, starting with the left side. Keep it going. Drawing those feet back under your hips, chest is nice and lifted here. Lift, lower, side tap. With those side taps, we're keeping our hips nice and low. That's it, you've got 7. We have kettlebell or dumbbell swings next. All right, catch your breath. Maybe grab a sip of water. Feet are slightly wide in your hips. Keep a nice soft bend in your knees. One weight or a kettlebell. Draw that weight down in between. Lift. As you rise to stand, avoid locking out those knees. So you're rising up, you're straightening those legs, but you're not locking out those knees, keeping a nice soft bend in those knees. Chest is lifted. Keep it going. That's it. Keep it going. Almost there. Kettlebell or dumbbell swings as you rise up, squeeze your glutes. Last 5. We have a split squat lunge coming up next. All right, with 1 or with 2 weights, throw that right foot forward, left foot back. You can always hold on to something with your right hand. We have a split squat to a deadlift. So we're holding it in that split squat stance. As you draw that back left knee down towards the floor in your split squat, your shoulders stay stacked over your hips, firing up those quads. That back knee is directly under your left hip. Gliding the weight down the front of your right shin. Keep it going. Split squat, lunge stance to a single leg deadlift. Slow it down as much as you need to. We're not going for speed on these ones. The first two moves, we got our heart rate up. And now we're maintaining that heart rate. You got 2 and 1. All right, rise up. Roll the shoulders up and back, switching sides. Right foot staggers back, left foot stays forward. Find your stance of choice. Shoulders are lifted in that split squat. Come on down, rise up, reach that one or set of weights down the front of your left leg. You can hold on to a chair, a table, maybe a bar or a ledge, even a wall with your left hand. Split squat stance, single leg deadlift. Shoulders stay stacked over your hips and that split squat. In your deadlift, imagine you're trying to press your hips back to the wall behind you. Keep it going. We're back to the top. In 10. Back is flat. Deep inhales, deep exhales. You got 3, 2, and 1. Finish up where you're at. Maybe come back to that single weight. Weight at heart center, feet are hip width apart and parallel. Come down low in that squat. Rise up, calf raise, lower, hold it, tap it out, hip width. Rise up, calf raise, lower, tap it, starting to the opposite side. Tap it, bring it in, lift, lower, tap it out, tap it out. You're 20 seconds in. We're doing these 3 times through before moving on to 4 brand new moves. Tap it out, back in, tap it out. That's it. Keep it going. Rising up higher on those tippy toes and the ball of your foot. Maybe your big toe and pinky. You've got 3, 2, and 1. Roll the shoulders up and back. We have kettlebell or dumbbell swings. Feet widen your hips, toes turned out. Weight between your palms. Sink your hips down low, knees are bent. Rise up. As you draw that weight forward, that weight or that kettlebell, squeeze your glutes. Keep a micro bend in your knees. So as you rise up, trying to show you so that my knees are still bent. Keeping a soft bend in those knees as you rise up. Just a micro bend. So we're not locking out those knees. Keep it going. Almost there. You can also bring that weight between both of your palms. Bring it down and forward. You can bring it long ways. That's it. We have that split squat lunge stance. In 2 and 1. All right, adjust your weights if you would like. Let's start with that right foot back, left foot forward. Find your stance, shoulders pulled up and back. We have that split squat stance. Rise up, draw the weights down. Rise up, think slow and controlled. We are not going for speed on these. Rise back up, split squat, rise. That's it. Split squat, lift. So you're maintaining that deep bend in your front left knee. You're slightly bending that back right knee and then coming to a deeper bend in your split squat. You've got 15 seconds. Shoulders pulled back. Your back remains flat. Draw your navel into your spine. You've got 5. That's 3, 2, and 1. Roll the shoulders up and back. Maybe step it out. We're going to the other side. Right foot forward, left foot back. Stagger your stance. Find what works for you. Give me that split squat if you want to lengthen the distance between your right heel and your left toes. Feel free to do that at any point. If you would like to shorten that stance, feel free to do that. You've got it. Very nice, Mindy. Actively pressing those hips back in that single leg deadlift. Don't let your right knee come forward. Back remains flat. Keep the shoulders stacked over your hips in that squat. You've got 3, 2. All right, we are back to the top. Grab that weight. This is your third and final round. Feet are hip width apart and parallel. Make it your best yet. Come down to that low squat. Rise up. Lift those heels. Lower down. Tap it out. Bring it in. Tap it out. Bring it in. Keep it going. Starting with the opposite side. Tap it out. Bring it in. Tap it out. Bring it in. Drawing those feet back under your hips. Single leg tap. Single leg tap. Coming up high onto those tippy toes. Onto the ball of your feet. Sit. Very nice. Single leg tap out, tap in. Lift and lower. Tap, bring it in. Tap, bring it in. That's it. You've got 7 seconds here. Keep it going. Last 2. And 1. Finish at where you're at. Keep that weight. Go heavier, go lighter. All right, we have those kettlebell or dumbbell swings. All right, last 50 seconds here. You can slow it down as much as you like. Pick up that pace when you're ready. Draw that weight forward. Can you get me some water, please? I think I could grab the cup, but the one time that I'm dying of thirst, which is rare, forget my water. Keep it going. You're halfway there. We have that split squat lunge stance on the right side the last time. Thank you. Have fun. All right, last 10. Stay with it. Avoid locking out those knees. Last 5, 3, 2, and 1. All right. Adjust your weights if you need to. Shoulders pulled up and back. Right foot forward, left foot back. Find your stance. Back heel is lifted. Split squat. Rise up. Think slow and controlled. We're not going for speed on these. This is your third round. Glide the weight down the front of your right knee. Maybe down your shin. Back remains flat. Gaze is forward, especially in your deadlift. Where your body hinges, your gaze should follow. Keep it going. Fluid movements here. Single leg split squat, single leg deadlift. Front right foot is glued to the floor. Back left ball of your foot is pressed into the floor. Last 3, 2, and 1. Roll the shoulders up and back. We're switching sides. Left foot forward, right foot back. Roll the shoulders up and back. Big inhale, deep exhale. Coming to that split squat. Hinge forward deadlift. And rise. Split squat, lift, and deadlift. Actively press those hips back in that deadlift. Imagine you're trying to touch your left glute to the wall behind you. Hinging at your waist. Draw your navel into your spine. Keep it going. Split squat. Shoulders stay stacked over your hips. Rise up, slow and controlled. Weights down the front of your left shin. That's it. You've got 7. Breather after this. Last 2. All right. Grab a sip of water. We're going to be on the floor on our backs for the next 4 moves. You still got 20 seconds. Don't worry. Grabbing 2 medium to heavy weights. We've got upper body, core, and glutes here. We're going to be on our back. Knees are bent over our hips 90 degrees. Weight is in your right hand. Weight overhead in the right side, left hand by your side. Draw your elbow down, neutral press, just the right arm, and lift. Left leg extends and bends. Right arm neutral press and lift. Left leg extend to a hover and bend. So that left arm and right leg are completely still. They're not moving, just the right arm and left leg are moving. You can alternate or you can combine the movements, drawing your right elbow down, left heel hover towards the floor, or breaking down the movements one at a time, your choice. Your lower back is pressed into the floor, gaze is up towards the ceiling, neck is just pressed in towards the floor. Avoid straining your neck. That's it, you got 5 more seconds here. Mini breather, and then we're switching sides. All right, finish up where you're at. Release your feet down. Bring the weight into your left hand, palm facing in. Your elbow stays tucked in. Draw your knees over your hips. Knees are bent. Give me that neutral press with just the left arm. Press it up. Right leg extends to a hover. And bend. Left arm, neutral press. Lift it up. Right leg. So left leg and right arm are completely still. They get to rest now. Active rest with that left knee. You can break down the moves, or you can combine the moves together, keeping that elbow tucked in close to your body. Neutral press. Your knuckles are up towards the ceiling. That right leg as it extends is just hovering the floor as close as you can. Draw your navel into your spine. Your lower back is zipped to the floor. Now a bit of air can get underneath your lower back and that floor beneath you. 5 more seconds. Then we're going to grab 2 or 1 heavy weight. Go ahead and lower those weights onto your hips. Hold them there. Let's draw our feet wider than our hips to start. Toes turned out. Let's lift and lower with a glute bridge. Just a lift and a lower. So if you have those weights on your hips, please make sure you're holding them. The last thing you want to do is lift your hips and the weights come tumbling down towards you. Squeeze your glutes to the top, squeeze your glutes to the bottom. Try to avoid resting your hips down. You're just barely tapping down and lifting right back up. Slow and controlled. Gentle tap and lift. Heels in, toes turned out, feet are wider than your hips. 12 more seconds here. We're going to release those weights into our hands for a wide arm chest press and extend our legs long to the end of our mat. Last one. All right, release those weights down. Wide arm chest press with a leg lift and lower. You can break the moves down or combine them together or start by breaking them down. Keep your legs into the floor. Give me a wide arm chest press. Release the elbows down. Legs lift up to the ceiling and lower. Slow and controlled. Lower the heels. Lift the arms and lower. Lift the heels. Leg raise and lower. Lower abs. You can keep it separate. You can combine the moves together. You can make the chest press faster, the same speed as your legs, or even slower, your choice. Your leg raises and lowers are slow and controlled. You can also hover your legs at the lowest possible degree before your heels touch. If you would like to add more heat to the core, that's it. You've got 7 more seconds and we're back to the top. Keep it going. Last one. Release the right weight down. Feet are hip width apart and parallel. Draw your knees over your chest. Knees are bent. Weight is in your left hand to start. Right hand by your hip. Give me that neutral press. Left arm. Press it up. Right leg extends. And bend. Same option here. You can keep the moves separate. One at a time. Upper body, then lower body. Or you can combine the moves together. It doesn't matter if you're pressing and extending your leg at the same time, or you're pressing and drawing the knee into your chest at the same time. It is your choice. Whatever works for you. As long as that left leg's not moving, your right leg comes low to a hover, your lower back is pressed into that floor. Draw your navel deep in your spine, up towards the crown of your head. Imagine you're wearing a corset. That's the motion that you have with your abs. Continue with your breath, deep inhales, deep exhales. All right, release the weight into your right side. Maybe tap your toes, lift your feet. Feet are hip width apart and parallel, knees over your hips. Knees at 90 degrees, weight is in your right hand, left hand by your hip. Right arm pulls down, extends, left leg extends and bends. Elbow down and lift, left leg. Keep them separate or add them together. Your choice, this is your workout. You get in what you put out of it. Keep it going. Very nice. Right arm, left leg moving. Together, separate. Slow it down as much as you need to. This is round 2 of 3. We're going to bring 1 or 2 weights to our hips. If you're using 1, just place it underneath your navel. If you're using 2, 1 on each hip. Last 2. 1. Finish up where you're at. This time, draw your feet hip width apart and parallel. Feet are flat on the floor. 1 or 2 weights. Placement of your choice. Ground through your feet. Lift your hips and lower. Hip width, glute bridge, raise and lower. So right now our focus is on our glutes, on the back side of our body. So your shoulders stay pressed in towards the floor. Avoid lifting your shoulders up. Just pressing your hips up towards the ceiling. Imagine somebody has a string under your hips pulling you up and then barely releasing you so you can tap down, lifting right back up again. Try to avoid letting your knees come outward with your lift and with your lower. 12 more seconds here. We're going to bring those weights into our hands for a wide arm chest press with alternating leg raise and lowers or combine the movements. Last 2 and 1. All right. Bring those weights into your hands. Elbows are wide, slightly lower than your shoulders. Extend your legs out long. All right. Full exhale. Give me that wide arm chest press. Release it down, leg raise and lower. You can combine the movements. You can break them down. Most important thing is that lower back is zipped to the floor. The lower your legs go, the more challenging it is. So you can keep them at a diagonal. As you're low, you can lower them down close to the floor without touching the floor. Think of that floor as lava. You can do the chest press slowly, as slow as your legs raise and lower, maybe faster, maybe even slower, your choice. Keep it going, working those lower abs, leg raise and lower, working the chest muscles here. You've got it. Wide arm chest press. As you draw your elbows down slightly lower than your shoulders. All right, release down. Start again with that weight is in your right hand. Knees are bent at 90. Reverse tabletop, left hand by your hip. We have that right arm neutral press, left leg extend. Combine the movements, break them down. Your choice. This is your 3rd and final round. Give it your all. Keep it going. Navel pulled in, up towards the crown of your head. Lower back is pressed in towards the floor. If you notice that your lower back is arching, if you have any discomfort in your lower back, don't lower your legs so far. So maybe it's an extend of the knee and then come back to a bend. Maybe placing your left hand on your left hip bone. Noticing that movement, that breath. Keep it going. You've got 5. Switching sides. All right, bring that weight into your left hand. Lower your feet to a tap or hold them lifted just where they're at. Right hand by your side or on your right hip bone. Neutral press, right leg extend and bend. Keep it going. Breaking down those moves or combining them together. Remember your options. You can lower that right leg to a hover or you can just extend the leg and bend. It doesn't matter if your leg is extending as you draw your arm in towards your chest or up towards the ceiling. Keep it going. Do what you can today. This is the last time doing this movement. Left leg is completely still. Not moving, just your left arm, right leg. Neutral press. Right leg extends and bends to a hover or up towards the ceiling. You got it, that's 5. Last 2 and 1. Place those weights on your hips, 1 or 2 weights. Let's zip our legs, so walk your heels in, knees touch, toes touch. weight or weights on your hips or below your navel. Zip your legs together, squeeze your glutes, lift and lower. Squeeze your thighs together. Imagine you have a piece of paper between your thighs. You want to keep it there. That's it, lift and lower. That's it, squeezing at the top, squeezing at the bottom. Imagine your glutes are a kitchen sponge. You want to get all of that excess water out before tapping down and lifting right back up again. That gentle tap is absorbing that water. That lift is squeezing the water out. Keep it going. We have that wide arm chest press with the leg raised and lower coming up next. And then you have a breather. Last 3, 2, and 1. Bring those weights into each hand. Elbows are slightly lower than your shoulders. Extend your legs out long. Wide arm chest press, leg raise and lower together or separate. You've got this. It's only 50 seconds. Remember your options. The lower your heels go, the more challenging it is. Keep the lower back zipped in towards the floor. Not a bit of water, not any amount of air can get between your lower back and that floor. Keep it going. Wide arm chest press. Lowering your elbows towards the floor. They don't have to tap. Lowering your heels towards the floor at any degree that works for you. Lower ab, raise and lower with a wide arm chest press. That's it, you've got 7. We're back to standing. No equipment needed to begin with. In 2 and 1. All right, come on up. Bring those weights to the top of your mat. We're just gonna set them there. Come to the back of your area. Maybe grab a sip of water. Just to start, we have an inchworm. So we're gonna start at the back of our area. You'll see why the weights are up there for our next move. Ground through your feet, roll your shoulders up and back. Deep inhale, deep exhale. Reach your arms up high overhead. Forward fold, slow and control. Keep a bend in the knees. Walk your hands out to a high plank or tabletop. Lower the hips in that tabletop or high plank. Bend in the knees. You walk your hands back to your feet. Rise up, arms overhead. Back to that forward fold. Bend in the knees as you fold forward. Keep the bend in the knees. Walk your hands out either a tabletop or high plank. Bend the knees as you walk your hands back towards your toes. That's it, less than 20 seconds to go. We're gonna hold it in a high plank at the end here. You can also hold it into a tabletop. Walk it in. Think slow and controlled. All right, come back. Find your tabletop or high plank stance. Bring the weights under your wrist, whether you're in that tabletop or high plank. We have a single arm row and release. You're switching. Row it up and release. Pulling that weight in towards your lowest rib cage. Elbow up towards the ceiling. Keep your navel pulled in towards your spine. You can be in any variation, high plank, tabletop. Maybe you want to stay in tabletop, you want to add more heat to the core, you can tuck your toes, hovering your shins and bear. Your choice. That's it, we've got 10 more seconds here. We're going to hold it in this tabletop or high plank stance. We have mountain climbers coming up next. All right, let's see, we can set these weights off to the side now. You can keep them there too, it's not going to bother you. We have mountain climbers, so again, tabletop or high plank. Draw that knee to the same elbow. You can run it out. You can tap, you can be in that tabletop. You can hover your shins by tucking your toes in that bear. Drawing the same knee to the same elbow. You can also do it from a high plank stance. Drawing that knee up towards the same elbow. Many options here. If you're just not feeling the floor work, you can also come to standing, knee drive. Your choice. That's it. Keep it going. All right. From a tabletop, high plank, or even standing, we have an alternating single leg kick back and draw it in. Keep your navel pulled into your spine. Avoid letting your hips open so your hips are squared the entire time. Doesn't matter how high you get your leg. If it's an inch or two off the floor, that is perfect. If it's 5 inches off the floor, also perfect. 5 feet, you get the point. Keep it going. Tabletop, high plank. You can also do this from standing. You can also do it from bear. Many options here. Keep it going. Nice stretch here for the hip flexor and for your glute. Coming back to our back of our mat in 3, 2. All right, come to the back of your area. I'm just going to move my weights here before I forget. Up at the top. We won't use them for our inchworms. Coming to the back. Reach arms up high overhead. Bend in the knees as you fold forward, slow and controlled. Walk your hands up. Keep the bend in the knees. Coming out to that high plank or tabletop. Bend in your knees and walk your hands back, slow and controlled. This is round 2 of 3. Reach your arms up high as you rise to stand. Fold, deep bend the knees. Walk your arms out. Maybe coming down to that tabletop. Walking it back toward your toes. You've got it. Last 20 seconds here. We're going to hold it in that tabletop, that high plank. You can also do those rows standing. You're just not feeling the floor work today. That's perfectly fine. Every day is different. You've got 3, 2, and 1. Find your stance. Maybe it's different than the first round. You can do it. Bring the weights under your shoulders if you're on the floor. Tabletop. Tuck your toes for that bear, high plank, or even standing. Single arm rows. If you're standing, have a soft bend in the knees, arm down by your side. Reach up and release. Reach up and release. So I'm keeping those elbows tucked in close to my body. Very nice, Mindy. Keep it going. Really drawing that elbow up towards the ceiling. Imagine you have somebody on your back. You're trying to push them off with your elbow. I know it's a horrible analogy. Try and just elbow somebody. Not a fun thing, but you get the point. Keep it going. Less than 7 seconds here. Mountain climbers or high knees coming up next. Set those weights off to the side. We're not going to use them again. For this round at least. Can't say again. All right. High knees, mountain climbers, tabletop or high plank. You can also come down onto your forearms if you're not feeling it on your wrist and just drawing that knee out to the side. Many options here. Do what suits you today. Same knee to same elbow. If you're on your forearms, you can draw that knee out and around, getting more of those obliques. That's it. You got 10 seconds here, wherever you are. All right, so you can come back onto the forearms next. I did initially have this for a forearm plank just to give our wrists a breather. You can hold in a forearm plank or standing. We have alternate single leg kick back and lift. If you're liking it better on your wrist, that's perfectly fine too. This is just an option to give your wrists a breather from the mountain climbers and inchworm that we just did and the rows. This is your 4th move for this set. Round 2, right here. As you extend your leg back, whether you are on all fours, you have your elbows down, you're in a high plank, or you're standing, think of your hips as headlights. guiding you along the way. So you don't want to open up your hip as you lift that leg. It's just going straight back and releasing down. Straight back and releasing down. All right, come on up to standing if you were on the mat. Come to the back of your area. Last round doing these inchworms in 2 and 1. Reach your arms up high. Forward fold, soft, bend the knees. Walk your hands out. As slow as you like, come to that high plank or tabletop, your choice. Bend in the knees as you walk your hands back to your toes. Rise up, arms overhead. Forward fold, hands at heart center. Press your hips back to have a deeper bend in those knees as you come out to that high plank, that tabletop, maybe that bear. Last 20 seconds here. Keep it going. High plank, tabletop, or bear, drawing your navel in towards your spine. Rise up. That's it. You got 3, 2. All right, finish up where you're at. We have those renegade rows. Again, tabletop, standing, maybe bear, maybe in a high plank. Reach it up and release. Drawing that elbow close in towards your body, keeping it up nice and high as you draw that weight in towards your rib cage. As you're hinging forward, if you're standing, if you're in a high plank, tabletop, or bear, whatever position you're in, draw that navel in. Keep your back nice and flat. Avoid arching or rounding your spine. You'll know if you are because your back will start to hurt. You should not feel this in your back. Keep it going. Mountain climbers are next in 10. We've got less than 2 minutes of work here. Last 3, 2, and 1. All right, high knees, tabletop, high plank, mountain climbers. And 2, and 1. Your choice. You can step it. You can run it. If you're in that high plank, tabletop, or bear, avoid letting those hips lift. Try to keep your hips in one long line. Keep going. Same knee, same elbow. You can also come down onto your forearms if that's more comfortable, giving your wrists a breather. If you are on your forearms, you want to track that knee out from your rib cage, up and around. You've got 7. We're going to hold in that low plank next for 2 and 1. All right, we've got that low plank, single leg lift and lower. You can do it from a tabletop. You can do it from high plank. You can do it from bear by tucking your toes. You can also do it from standing. Slow and controlled. This is the last bit of work you have, then we stretch. This is actually a really nice stretch for your hamstrings, your lower glutes, and your hip flexor. Keep those hips square. Often when we draw our leg back, we want to open up our hip. It's a natural movement. You want the focus here to be in your glutes and in your core, so keep those hips nice and square. Last 10. Dolphin, bear, tabletop, high plank, or standing. Last 2. And I'm just going to do one more to keep it even. All right. You're on the floor. Let's go ahead and find a child's pose. Just a nice stretch here. Sinking your hips toward your heels. Thank you, timer. That noise is so obnoxious. Sinking your hips to your heels. You can draw your knees wider than the mat. If it's more comfortable, you can keep your knees pulled in, sinking your hips back. Pulling in here and breathing. Maybe extend your arms out long in front. Releasing your forehead down to the floor. Child pose is so underrated. You've got it. Holding and breathing. Actively stretching your fingertips long past the crown of your head. Hips towards your heels. Hold that extension and then release your hands. towards your ankles. You're still reaching the crown of your head back. You can hover your arms. You can bring them on your hips. You bring your palms facing up. Relax your shoulders down from your ears. Release your hands under your shoulders. Press yourself up. Tuck your toes. Actually, let's stay on the floor. Let's do some stretching on the floor today. Let's extend our right leg long. Keep the sole of your left foot inside your right leg. Reach your arms up high overhead. Deep inhale. Exhale, release your right hand to the inside of your right leg. Left arm overhead. Maybe gaze now under your left armpit. Feel a deep side bend all along the left side body. Gently rise up. Release your left arm down. Keep your arms up high one more time. This time, rotate over towards your right leg and fold forward. Fold forward, fold over the right leg. Both arms are framing that right foot. You may bring your forehead towards your knee. Heart towards your thigh. Gently rise up. Release your hands down. Extend your left leg long. Draw the sole of your right foot inside of your left leg. Make sure both sit bones are pressed into forming a rock side to side. Keep your arms up high overhead. Release your left hand to the inside of your left leg. Right arm comes up high overhead. Side bend over to the left side. Gaze down underneath that right armpit. Keeping both sit bones in towards the floor, so avoid letting that right hip come up. Keep your arms up high overhead. Hold the arms up, rotate as you're facing that left leg, and then fold forward. Again, keeping both sit bones on. You can grab the sole of your foot, your calf, or your thigh, or just hover your arms. Avoid grabbing any of your ligaments like your ankle or your knee. Keeping that right hip in towards the floor. Full exhale. Gently inhale, rise. Exhale, release your hands down. Keep your left leg extended. Extend your right leg long. Wide leg straddle. From here, again, both sit bones are pressed in towards the floor. Lengthen the crown of your head towards the ceiling. Release your hands down in front of you. This is option one. If you'd like, you can hold it here. You can also walk your hands forward, coming into a wide leg forward fold. If you notice maybe one hip is lifting, maybe both hips are lifting, just walk your hands back in. Find that connection with your hip bones in the floor, and then fold forward more. Walk your hands back in towards your body. Draw the soles of the feet together. Butterfly your knees. Crown of your head nice and tall. Maybe flap your butterfly wings. One more breath just like this. Reach your arms up high overhead. Hands to heart center. Fantastic work today. Thank you so much. Hopefully that was